Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Weekend Frivolity. This is our show we do on Sundays. And welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com. Sounds like we're live on YouTube, so that's encouraging. I didn't really put any notices around whether this video was being published. I just hit the record button. So here we are. No idea if anybody's going to actually show up on YouTube. Actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll throw the YouTube link in the lounge. So that way, if anybody needs it on the site, boom, there it is. So level 1ers just finished up their class session. So let's make sure I have this all running correctly here. Hello, there's Omar. Hello, Omar. Nice to see you. So we were just sitting here shooting the poop in a hangout, listening to 80s music, and I think a couple people are like, "Oh man, I'm so sick of this Wayback Machine." They actually bailed, so the show's on now. You can all come back. The music's over. But we did listen to a cool song that Josh actually suggested to get us going here. So I think we're all in pretty good spirits here at TRI this morning, having a lot of fun in the market. Unfortunately, these are extremely trying times for society. And we're going through big generational shifts. So probably not really in anybody's best interest to make any bold predictions probably for the next year or so. I mean, hell, anything can happen. If you are in the market, quote unquote, trading, now you have to be absolutely obsessed with risk management and capital preservation, because what I'm seeing right now is, and actually I watched a really interesting interview with a guy named Jeffrey Gunlock, I think it was. And he was basically saying that the only thing that's really holding the market up right now is the U.S. Federal Reserve, basically blank check, all that kind of talk. And when the market went into free fall there back in March, April, and that was before the most recent bailout, he was actually saying in an interview, which I found fascinating, that usually what institutional desks do is they run order books. So, maybe I'm not willing to buy this particular asset at this price. I'm willing to buy it maybe 10% discount. So my order will be sitting in the order book 10% lower. Us in our gap fills and all that, working stinky bids, all that kind of idea. And he was saying that when the market broke and it went into crisis, literally there were no bids. None. Zero. Zilch. Nobody was willing to buy anything. And I noticed, like, the capitulation event was when even the currencies themselves versus the US dollar, nobody was willing to step in and even buy them. So it just goes to show that when the market panics, you have to understand that really there is nothing here propping the market up other than just a promise by one institution or another to prop up the market. There really isn't a heck of a lot of value in these assets right now. Everything has just ridiculously been just, U.S. currency. I heard somebody say today that just in this recent go-round of stimulus and quantitative easing, the Fed has now done more since March in the form of quantitative easing than they did with all of the entire quantitative easing through that quote-unquote financial asset crisis combined. They did it all in literally about 4 or 5 weeks. So what the hell's the value of money right now? And, it's all fun and games while we sit there and there is still some perceived value for this quote-unquote money. Make no mistake about it. The U.S. and Ben Bernanke, they went down a very, very dangerous path here. by diluting the currency, the actual purchasing power. Well, you say cash is king, but what the fuck is cash worth? This is really dangerous. In years gone by, it was relatively simple. If you had a relatively strong dollar, then you just basically hit the reset button, start the whole game all over again. But we don't have a strong dollar world anymore. We have, like, what I heard from the Fed is, well, we're the only reserve currency. And we'll keep playing this game of this sort of stealth inflation. I mean, look at your grocery bill. This is getting ridiculous. How these central planners won't acknowledge the fact that by diluting the currency, they're just cranking up price inflation for Joe Sixpack. And you actually have to feel kind of badly for all the people that work their asses off through their whole baby boomer life, saving for retirement, save. And these central bankers can literally knock the quote-unquote value of those savings in half, by a quarter, by maybe a tenth, just in a heartbeat. I mean, it's almost a little sad, but it is what it is. Welcome to the crazy world we live in. With regard to markets, unfortunately, the way that I sort of look at this right now is I believe that about once every 10 years, and if you look at things like the stock market, but once every 10 years or so, we have to go through these absolutely insanely volatile periods where, these things like stocks, and really stocks are just one particular risk asset. While we go through this period, you're like, oh my God, it's up and down like a horse drawers. But keep in mind, we've gone through this many, many times in the past. If we go back to, I remember 2000, right? Sky's falling, it's the end of the world. You can see all these corrections one after the other. What usually has to happen through these cycles is equity prices have to lose about 50% of their value. That's usually a pretty normal sort of benchmark. So you can see through the 2000 correction. Remember, going through here, where is it? Right here. This is 9/11. Right, and it was interesting, through that event, Mr. Greenspan even said he kind of hoped, and keep in mind, on that event, right, stocks gapped open and just cranked lower. We're at, what is that, about 1100, and we ultimately bottomed at 900, so there's another 10% free fall the market went into. And I guess just the point is that actually this kind of process is actually very normal for stock markets. And if we look at George Bush Jr.'s presidency, same sort of thing. Market topped out at about 1600. Ultimately here we bottomed at like 700, so more than 50%. So I would expect that if this is a knockdown, drag 'em out recession. I would expect that. And frankly speaking, I don't think we're really in recession kind of conversations. This is going to take a long time to heal the damage that's being done here. So, if we just think 50% of this high here back at 3,400, we'll call it. Well, it's about 1,700 or so. So where is that? That's down in this area. So I would, before we sort of get through this big transition period, sadly for students, and God, I remember talking to students years ago, we started this education program like 2015, I guess in that time period. Telling people, recessions usually happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. So here we are. Also, too, kind of like, well, we're transitioning from the baby boomer generation into the millennial generation. And usually there has to be like a reset button hit where basically you could think of it like the baby boomers all get out at the top. And then the market settles down and the millennials sort of take over. The problem that I have with this cycle, and it's not something that I've dealt with my entire career. I just haven't, is that through my, and it's so ironic because through my childhood years, the last sort of big fear asset cycle, and I don't even know if this even goes that far back. No, it doesn't. The last big fear cycle was 1980. And in 1980, let's see if we can just pull that up. And interestingly enough, for all those people that are interested in planetary alignments through that fear cycle, that apex was right through a Jupiter-Saturn cross. So gee whiz, here we are again. What a surprise. And everybody's freaking out. But what I wanted to show you was what's fascinating is that my old man, he was a big believer in what they called sound money. I don't even know if you even heard of that term anymore. Hard money. So, of course, when guys like Ronald Reagan come out and say, no, you don't have to balance a budget. Fuck that shit. Right? They, of course, all the hard money, sound money people all freak out. And yet the irony of it all is that they basically got away with the fugazi. They took the Americans off the gold standard and, basically said, hey, it was okay for, Western governments to deficit spend, voodoo economics, all that. And I think you could actually argue that the path of our destruction was actually laid right through here. And just sort of the belief that, hey, we don't have to pay our bills. See you, Sonny, you smart ass. Don't say that, because they're going to be like, copyright infringement. You can't say that. So it's the BCS, Sonny. This is the baby boomer generation. I think it was built a little bit on the simple fact that the United States was the world's sort of hegemony against the Cold War adversaries, and so as a result they sort of laid the groundwork for the world that we live in today. And this is sort of the end result of that massive cycle. And the disappointing thing about this is if we actually look at this in real dollar terms, let's see what happens when I do this. Probably only starts, the data only starts here. You can actually see there is that whole cycle from beginning to end. So you can see and actually this is actually a pretty good study, right? So this is what we need the stock market to start looking like for us to get ready for that next growth cycle. See how it makes, is there a letter of the alphabet that we kind of like when we see that? So, do we have that kind of environment right now? Not really. W's. I love it, Josh. Actually, Josh and I, we've got a fun, and he's Josh, for whatever it's worth. He's one of our TRIOGers. He's been around the site a few years. And we have a fun project. We're calling it the Tesla Project. I don't know whether we're allowed to say that, though. That might be a copyright. So maybe we have to somehow make a reference to those vehicles. That's sort of our ultimate goal is, I love to trade penny stocks, and I actually think we're in an environment where penny stocks can do really well. So kind of like what I did in the altcoin market there a couple years ago. It's a lot of fun. And really, I might argue you could probably do exactly the same thing in the alt market. There's no difference here, but this is a typical altcoin, and hopefully you see the logic there. And basically, I do exactly the same thing in the stock market, and this is what I did for years and years and years. Actually, it's interesting that you make reference to that, Omar, because I was a bit surprised. I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this fun game. Let's at the end of this. We're going to bang out two 10Xers. We're going to take $500. We're going to turn it into like 50 grand or 100 grand, whatever number you want to come up with. It doesn't really matter. And we'll go buy our Lambos, right? Or, hundreds of thousands, whatever it costs. And really all it is just compounding your money. Just finding good quality names, compounding your money, 10X, then compound it again, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a question of can you follow the plan? That's all. and the response back was, no, we want a Tesla. Teslas are better than Lambos. And I was like, you're kidding me. And actually, no, Josh first said, I like Ferraris better than Lambos, for whatever it's worth. But then his first request was, but I want a Tesla first. Which I thought was hilarious. Holy, if anything, what a sign of the times, eh? Son of a bitch. Where people would actually prefer to have a Tesla over a Lambo. That shocked me. Anyway, way to go, Mr. Monks. You pulled it off. And actually, did any of you, I don't know if anybody's watching or not, but did any of you take up my assignment about Mr. Westinghouse? I think I even suggested it to all the site members. Did anybody look into Mr. Westinghouse? I believe Mr. Westinghouse and Mr. Tesla are basically cut from the same jib. So, interestingly enough, I think that, Mr. Monks might come across as very unique, but it seems every, generation or so, there's always people like him. And I think Mr. Westinghouse is a perfect analogy to him. But anyway, so here's a fun little experiment that Josh and I are going to do. I run a venture cap investment model that was taught to me by an old VSC floor broker. And the interesting thing is that last time the venture market was in a bull, I was a broker in the venture capital market. So, I literally left that market because it was just a train wreck. And I was like, well, why the fuck waste my time doing this? And I went off and managed a private fund for a while. But where's that image? I thought I had it on here. This is what the venture capital market has been doing for the past, and this is a long time. See, this is what I don't think you people in crypto really understand is, if a market can stay in a bear market for decades. It's not unrealistic. It does happen all the time. And in essence, and this is the worst part about capitalism. This is the worst part about our stupid society. Is if you looked at this chart heading up through here, you would say, well, gee whiz, that's a bit overbought. Maybe I ought to cool my jets. And, the same thing's happening in the real estate market. I find it shocking that our society now is at the point where governments themselves are in on the scam. That governments now actually no longer work for the people. The governments actually work for themselves. Governments themselves have become sort of like organisms feeding on society themselves. And case in point, you should have looked, this is basically, this was the dot-com blow-up. And then there was the big reversal coming out of, remember 9/11, I showed you on the major stock indexes. That was, I guess, back here. But you can see where the money started to come in on the market. So, if you were worth your weight at all as an analyst, then, obviously this consolidation would get your attention, right? Nice breakout, nice range. And unfortunately, this doesn't go back. But in essence, this was a bottom all through here. And then nice breakout. And okay, we got ourselves a bull market. And hopefully you can see things like bots take you higher. And really, the same damn thing happened with Bitcoin and crypto. It's the same shit, just different pile. So, but here's my point. Is the market goes zooming all the way up here. Was there some sort of world catalyst right around here that the market was moving into? I'd be curious. Does anybody remember? You guys in the lab, you all remember. Does anybody remember what this environment was like? No, this is way, way before that. What's really sad is the whole justification for this move was all predicated on this idea that China was building out their economy. Remember Three Gorges Dam? I heard somewhere recently someone saying that the Three Gorges Dam is breaking in China. Has anybody actually heard? Is that just bullshit YouTube nonsense? Actually, this is the point, yeah. Well, I mean, through this, I was a broker, and I was telling somebody in class now. Um, when I was a broker, I used to do KYC, and at this point, you would ask people, okay, well, do you own your old home? No, that's not the question to ask. The question was how many homes do you own? So that's how bad it got up here, Omar. So, point of the matter here is you would think that a professional association, professional industry, you would think that professionals would caution investors. Maybe you're coming a little late to the party. Actually, maybe things are getting a little dangerous. No. What actually happened through here, which made me absolutely sick to my stomach. So what do I say? Like governments actually become organisms and they feed on things like industry. In Canada, we are taxed out the fucking asshole. I mean, it's ridiculous the taxes you get. Oh, I just took a breath. I'm sure there was a tax on that somewhere. And it got so bad about 10, 20 years ago that government just couldn't raise taxes anymore because they were getting tax revolts all over the place. People just had enough. I mean, the taxes here in Canada are ridiculous. So what the hell do these governments do? Because they're organisms. They want to grow. Well, then they transitioned into if you were a stockbroker, you had to have a license. That was the way that they sort of paid all their regulatory shit, right? Is through the licensing fees collected. No. Now, if you're a broker here, we're going to include continuing education requirements. So to maintain your license in good standing, you must take these courses, of course, that we're going to take like an 80-90% cut on. And literally, it's just another tax. And I had to sit in these continuing education courses and listen to quote-unquote industry experts justify the prices up here. And, this is my level 1 course. I teach people about Gail Dudak and the dot-com boom. It's the exact same fucking thing. Where literally the quote-unquote, the people that are supposed to be watching out for you and covering your ass are changing their story to justify the bull. It constantly happens in our society. It's ridiculous. So this is what scares me because they've fucked with everything. They fucked with stock valuations, dot-com blow up. They fucked with real estate and, commodities investing. They fucked with crude oil. Crude oil is negative $30 a barrel. What the hell? They're running out of things to fuck with. And the one thing that's actually holding up this whole system, they are officially fucking with it right now. That's how dangerous this current market is. It's dangerous, people. Very dangerous. Anyway, point of the matter here, and I might argue that the fugazi that you see in the stock market is exactly like this. I constantly hear people justifying the prices of assets, but, like I said, recessions usually markets lose about 50% of their value. So, that's just a really simple benchmark level to use. So, where is 50% of where we are right now? Well, that's a hell of a long way down. So, party. What a nice message, Brian. That's unfortunately the backdrop of 2020. This is an extremely and it kills you. Because now, what a perfect setup. Now you've got the public saying, fuck you, professional investor. It's been working for 30, 40, 50 years in the market because they're freaked out about how easy it is to lose money. Fuck you. You don't know what you're doing. I'm sitting on the bar stool here. Get me a cruise light and I'll buy that stock and make $1 million. I don't need any of this professional money management shit. Talk about a potion for disaster. Anyway, that's my preamble. And, I can completely understand it. People are kind of like, well, why should I bother listening to this guy? You don't have to if you don't want to, right? There's no payment involved in any of this. And I do understand probably a lot of people are going to be like, well, I'm not going to bother listening to this clown anymore. I'm trying to warn you, this is an extremely dangerous market. It makes your Sunday, eh, Peter? All right. Now, here's the problem, is the market will do any old goddamn thing it wants to do. And if they keep the Fugazi up, the market will do any old damn thing it wants to do. I guess the way that I'm looking at this is, ironically enough, if I actually was an institution and I did want to get out of the market, then actually this is a pretty good level for me to just slowly slide my way out of the market and just, get myself all nice and secure, big pile of cash, whatever the hell that's worth. Maybe I'll go buy some gold because, the gold market's moving up and gold usually rallies into the Jupiter-Saturn cross event. I think sort of the final event window is later this November. I think that's like the big apex. And then we have sort of like ancillary spin-off effects in 2021. So I wouldn't be surprised if this fall is nasty. Interestingly enough, I had one big celestial event window here at the beginning of April. So it's fascinating how that dumped into that. Then I had another celestial event right here at the end of June, beginning of July. And I wonder whether it's almost like, because markets, I don't know whether you've ever noticed this in your studies, but markets on an annual basis will either do one of two things. Usually through the year, they'll do something like that, or they'll do something like that. And actually, if you look over the whole calendar year, it often looks like one or the other. So I'm wondering, and you don't know, nobody knows. We're just students of the market. And I'm wondering whether our year this year is looking something like that. That wouldn't surprise me. So, who knows where the top? Could they wash the tops up here? You see there's a cheeky little gap right on the S&Ps, right up top. Could they wash the market up there? They can do any old damn thing they want. But at some point I will be definitely looking for this pullback. Does it, play out all the way into this October-November window? It's definitely realistic. I could actually see this go on. Obviously we have a massive unknown coming up in the United States of America. Are people really going to want to take a huge amount of risk in the form of equity ownership heading into that event? I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some serious position squaring. And the thing is we're actually at the level at which the position squaring should get done. So I would imagine that there's probably a lot of sort of, institutional players just saying, okay, do we really want to be this long heading into this big unknown event coming up here in November? Of course, that's the next big celestial window nonsense. Is this going to M out in the most, agreeable fashion? If it does, then we know that the bull is done. I don't know. We might pop up a little bit higher here. I'll tell you, the COVID news, it's not overly enthusiastic right now. And then we do have a bit of an unknown coming up here in the middle to the end of July. But, you might find in that they're going to need to do a second stimulus package here down in the U.S., which probably means that all these other countries are going to do stimulus packages, etc. Canada's already lost one of its credit rating. It was like one of the only sovereigns to have a AAA credit rating, so that was downgraded through this. So, the issuance of all this quote-unquote free money, it is having its effect in the market. But the U.S., there's supposed to be a big debate as to whether this, second or third stimulus package is going to get passed through Congress. And there's a whole bunch of little stuff that the Democrats attached to this third package bill. There's like big legislation about marijuana and stuff like that in it that, of course, the Republicans in the Senate don't like at all. So they might use that as an excuse as to why they're going to kill it. But, long and short of it here, seeing the fact that if the market is left to its own devices, there are no bids. The government has to come in and absolutely guarantee the market. So really, I would make the argument that you're only going to really know that this market has got some sort of floor when you hear that the U.S. Congress has passed that next big honkin' stimulus program. Until then, we're just bouncing around. And, the interesting thing is, and I actually even saw it rehashed, it seems to be a popular thinking in the market right now, is this idea of violently flat. So at the end of the day, we've established a trading range. We're going to zip all over this trading range. Keep in mind, this is like a 5-10% window. And yet, we don't really go anywhere. But at the same time, too, I'm also hearing people saying, watch out for the dip. And it probably is going to be around that vote where you might get just a violent kickback and then the vote passes and we head back up again. So that's sort of the message that I'm giving to people right now is violently flat. I love the idea if you want to slip out of the market. For heaven's sakes, if you have any stocks that are rallying, take profits, at least some. Probably not going to be buying a hell of a lot of new names unless I actually see that I'm buying into value levels. And as I said before, I'm actually pretty darn impressed with the valuations that I'm seeing on a lot of this sort of junior. And this is kind of like altcoins. It's the same thing. I could easily see, sort of finish off that stock market talk. If I see W's come in on these consolidated names and I know insiders are long from these levels and they don't have any debt, well, fuck, I'm going to go buy them. And the kick in the pants is that actually getting 10X's off on these things, 10X your money. It's actually not really that outlandish. Here's one. You can see the gaps. I mean, look at this big hole in the charts right up here. The old highs on these things on the rollback stock was like $5-6. I mean, if these guys just even sneeze, there's easily nice rallies there. And if you want it, I mean, you don't believe me. I mean, I've been running this model on the site through the past few years. This is exactly the same kind of story. This was back in 2016, 2017, and I can tell you there were students and site members who did very, 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 very well on this stock. And actually, there's one that I did last year. Exact same logic, right down at the bottom. I don't know, banged out 2 or 3 doubles on this kind of thing. And they've literally brought the stock right back down to the original bottom. And I've also noticed this too, and I'm not quite sure what is going on here. But I see about a half a dozen different sands and silica names and mineral names that I think what's going on is they're finally getting the bankruptcy washout in the fracking and oil sands business. So all of these names are all going through the process of restructuring themselves and getting ready for the next run. But anyway, there is one that I did last year, and actually I'm thinking about doing it again, But it's quite remarkable, some of these stocks, right? After the reorganization, this is a train wreck. So this one here, yeah, I went and picked up some of the stock. Look at the gap all the way up to 93 cents. And that's 10X, just going back and testing these old highs. And these are on names that, of course, have been rolled back, so their number of shares out is nice and solid. The one thing that killed crypto, and I don't see this a lot, is a lot of the names in crypto, they just have so many coins out. And I love to actually hear news of consolidation, roll them back and all that. But crypto, they're not really built the same way as these kind of stocks. So in a weird sort of way, when you have this sort of unfair advantage of being able to see the actual consolidation in the stocks themselves, see the old shareholders all destroyed, and basically their old stock is worthless, you can start coming in on new names and actually realistically thinking about getting 10X on your money. So this is our project for Josh and I. We're going to have some fun. I've done a number of these names, but kind of a fun project is we're going to buy one of these and only sell when we get 10X on it. And we're going to do it twice. We're going to start with $500. We're going to pick a name that meets the model criteria perfectly. And we're going to do this twice. And the goal here, and this should be a really fun goal because I think it's totally doable. It's just really a question of do you have the patience and discipline to wait for it. So I've given Josh the special assignment. He has to go and find all of the VCIM criteria. He has to get to know the company. He has to understand what the project is. And only then do we decide to go and pull the trigger at appropriate levels. And we're just going to simply run a great little plan and just demonstrations. Probably going to take the next couple years to play out. We're going to try and hit 2 10Xs on this portfolio. Take $500, turn it into 50 grand. It's not really that outlandish. I know it sounds crazy, but believe it, I did it in crypto with you guys. It was a really simple model. It's just a question of, do you identify the model and do you do what you say you're going to do? So this should be a fun little experiment. So Josh is gonna do it. He's not gonna stop at 2 because he wants that. He wants the gold-plated Tesla that's $500,000. Anyway, point here is, ironically enough, you should look at this screen, and these are all, of course, stock ideas. And really, you should see the same thing in crypto. I could easily make the argument. In fact, I am making the argument that really I can see almost this exact same thing going on in crypto right now. And I showed you actually one earlier. Could I get 10? And the cool part about crypto is that actually you get a double bang for your buck. Oh, I thought I was on the right screen. What did I do here? Where was it? This one here, right? So if it's the same image as those crazy penny stocks. It's the same image. I mean, doesn't it look the same image to you guys? How about all of you over on YouTube? How are you guys doing today? Broiler Chicken Show. BCS, Sonny. No, I think we'll call it, I'm going to officially change the name to Sonny's a Smartass Show. Every Sunday it's the Sonny's a Smartass Show. Charts and hearts. Anyway, I love you, Sonny. 20 years from now, he's still going to be calling the show the wrong thing. Anyway, I mean, I can't comment on the fundamentals, and this is the problem that I have with crypto, and actually it means that I have to lean on you guys. The bullshit show? No, I hope I'm not bullshitting you guys. Actually, this would be an interesting poll. There's 57 people on on the show right now. Do you feel as though I bullshit you guys, or do you feel like I give you the straight goods? I'd really like to know. And, people may be stumbling upon this later on. They're watching the video. I mean, I'd really like to know. They're going to be reading your little texts and your comments here. Do you feel like I'm bullshitting you? Do you feel like I'm hyping shit? I really hope not, but I'm just going to shut up because I want you guys to type what you feel. Good. Raw like sushi. Cool. What the hell does that mean? Oh, is that your whole name? Wow, there's a cool name. Listen to this name. Jean-Baptiste Duval Vicomte. Did I get it close? Omar says he joined the Love One because of the quality you give. Well, that's good. Awesome. Straight goods. All right. Well, I mean, long and short of it, guys, is there's no fee associated with this. I do this day in, day out. I don't ask for anything in return. What I really want all of you to do is learn. Capitalism really doesn't change. It's the same fucking shit. Day in, day out. It's just the public gets sucked into this. And, maybe I'll go buy this because maybe it's going up here. Don't get sucked into that. Maybe I'll buy up here. Oh, no. Or maybe I'll buy into here, right? And you can see where the W is way back here. So, straight from the chicken's mouth. Thanks, man. Anyway, so, when I see an image like this, it should look almost exactly like those VSEs. Like I said, the only problem I have with this base is it's very hard for me to figure out value of a name when it's not like you get told where the insiders are long. I mean, how do you? And I'll put all you guys on there. Thanks for the positive accolades, guys. I mean, how do you figure out where the insiders are long this thing? You know, those venture cap stocks, I am long exactly where I know where the insiders are long. They have to tell the public. So I make damn sure to buy where the insiders are buying. But I've yet to figure that out in crypto. And if anybody can tell me, oh, Brian, there's a page that you can go to which will tell you exactly where the insiders are long. Oh, I'd love you for that. One thing I will say about crypto, and you know, I think especially this time period, I really like the idea, kind of like the VCIM. I mean, if you just go and buy the Dow Jones Industrial Average, believe it or not, I actually do think that it could lose 50% of its value here over the next year or so. But these kind of names, what's really fascinating is when the stock market crashes, if you're long from where the insiders are long, these stocks just sit there. They just don't do anything. So in a weird sort of way, that's also good. You can have your money working in the market and not worry that the fucking thing's going to go off the board. But, you know, we all went through that with that damn last meltdown in altcoin land. You didn't know which coins were actually going to survive and which ones weren't. And then to add insult to injury, we also had within this space, the exchanges themselves were a huge risk. And what were they going to do, which is a major problem in crypto, and we really need to get on to the next generation. As it stands right now, we're still way too beholden on these exchanges. And what I've also noticed too, for whatever it's worth, is that Trex names, because they're probably the order books are very, very thin right now, they're getting pumped and manipulated. So I mean, you want to get in there and make some quick free money. You concentrate on your Trex only names. Like for instance, Ubic just the other day. I mean, somebody just sneezed here and the thing doubled. Bang! Just out of the gate. I don't even know if, like, I put notes and stuff out. I don't even know if these guys are even doing anything. But I think this is just purely a function of a very, very thin order book. So, I mean, just, you know, if you are trading these things and you want the quick flips, just be cognizant of the fact that Trex has been on the outs for quite some time. And if you can find names that are Trex only, odds are you get any sort of internal momentum. You know, you could have been hunting long, so you could probably see momentum starting to turn back up here. You can be handed pretty quick, powerful gains very quickly. So be cognizant of that. You know, if anything, I would keep it real close. If Ubic's running here, Geo is one of Ubic's sort of stories here, and this guy's always a darling in the space. He can do absolutely insane things. I'd keep a close eye on this Geo. I mean, look at that chart. It's basically textbook. You can see how close I am to my double level. You cocksuckers, get the goddamn thing up there. So, you know, point here is, I mean, this is just like these venture cap stocks I was showing you a little while ago, right? I mean, look at that bottom. Oh, geez Louise. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on whether you want to get into the fun of playing on Trex with all that kind of fun stuff. Everybody knows all about it, Anthony. Sonny, what are you saying, Sonny? Sonny! Actually, we got to go. Every time we see Sonny, got to stop. Got to do the song. Thank you for the joy you give to me. How's that, buddy? What does he say? I like Sonny is a smart ass. Like that. So if anything, Sonny would go, okay, that's cool. Go with that. Go with that. Hey, you're the man, dude. When is the TRI meetup? Yeah, well, I mean, Sjord, of course, wants us to do the meetup in Holland. So that's just right around the corner for you. I think though Zach wants us to go Pacific though, so you Europeans might be screwed. We'll see which way the wind blows. And we said Brian's always spot on with what he teaches. That's my 2 nuggets about the stuff he puts out. Made me very good cash over the years. Oh, thank you, Sonny. Appreciate that. No. Oh, so Clemens and Lounge says, "Hi Brian, this project will be with planting flower setup." Are you talking about the little plan that what's that slacker's name again? Actually, it was really cool. We were watching a video earlier today, and I saw that Josh actually has been transported. He actually was alive and being kicking and grooving down back in the 90s. And he's got the same man bun, too. Exactly the same. He hasn't changed his hair at all. But Josh and we're going to have a little fun with venture cap stocks here. This is just going to... I wouldn't even... I mean, you're more than welcome to play along with us, Clemenzja. And if you're still on the site when we're taking profits, awesome. But I wouldn't expect either of the or any of the positions that we sell to be taking profits. We're going to sell them at 10x and nothing less. So I wouldn't expect the trade to be done for probably the next year or two. We'll probably look to buy something probably heading into the fall here. Okay, so, with regard to altcoins, try and find your individual story. I do see that a lot of these names are pretty much washed out. There was one I saw earlier today. It was sitting at like 4 sats or something like that. And I was like, this has got Verge written all over it. Which one was it? It was one of these ones. Was it XEL maybe? Look at that cute little W. Hey, you little cutie little W. You're just the cutest. I mean, if the W comes in here, guys, look at that. It's just sitting there. This might be another one of these Trex only names, but this is pretty easy stuff. I would just, you can see the W. And then if this thing puts in a W within a W, in fact, hell, you got even a W right here that just is firing today. I don't know what the internals look like on this thing, but same thing. It's the same thing as the venture cap market. And could you get 10x on this? 47 sats? Could we see 470 sats on this thing? I don't know. What the hell did this thing trade to in the past? Just these highs alone. That's 5,000 sats. Fuck, jeez, I swear. You don't have to do the penny cap market, Josh. Just go buy $500 worth of this thing and just do nothing for the next year or two and just say, well, I'll sell it at 10x. In this case, 1,000x, and just do absolutely nothing. Anyway, that's sort of like little old lady for the win. Obviously, the prudent thing, which is always a good strategy, sell half on a double, get your original capital back. That's just good, sound management. Just this little plan that we're going to do with Josh, this is more fun. And really, I want to see the guy really kill it. I think he's got an excellent YouTube site. And I think he's absolutely a beautiful human being. And so I think I've told you guys repeatedly, my number one job here is to make you people famous. So really my motivation here is I want at the end of this, our goal is Joshua and I are going to drive around on a racetrack racing our Teslas against each other. So this should be a fun little project. And, if I can see it in my brain, then that means it's going to happen. So it's not really a question of if, it's just a question of does Joshua have the tenacity to stick around and follow this? And we'll just, like I said, you could pick an asset like this XEL. I don't know if it's going to work or not. That's the problem here with things like crypto is I can't tell. I would imagine I'd look at the coin structure and I'd have to look at does the blockchain actually get used? What is the sort of the algorithm? What's the transactions look like? Is this phony baloney? Or are people actually using this network? Is it POS? Is it POW? What is value? Where are the insiders long? All that kind of fun talk if you want to do the crypto route. I personally, no offense, but I actually find it a hell of a lot easier to use the VCIM because it's just 4 simple criteria that the company has to actually publish according to Canadian law. So it's really simple just to create a screener, just going show me rolled back stock, show me shares for debt, show me options to directors, show me private placement, show me a project, and boom, away you go. So, I mean, it would be interesting. You guys, of course, are my sort of fundamental screen here in crypto. What do you think of this thing? XEL. I have no fucking clue who these people are, but I can tell you, I can see a W. I don't know what's going to happen. And geez, you know, to get a free position, all you need is a rally into this level here. Is that realistic? I think so. It's not unrealistic. So, you know, could you do like little old lady kind of stuff on this? I think that's easy moneymaker. In fact, you can see, look at that. There's a big old hole on the chart right up all the way up here. But like I said, and we got to think of a name for our little plan here, Joshua. It's a little bit esoteric, and it's going to obviously take a lot more patience and discipline. But the goal here is to take $500, turn it into $50,000, and go buy a cute little Tesla. Or however much it costs at that point. Maybe we'll have to do 3 doubles, like he says. So actually 10 X's. So 3 would be 500 into 5,000, 5,000 into 50,000, and then 50,000 into $500,000. I guess that's how it has to go, eh? So we'll have to do 3 of these things. The only problem is $500,000 in stock in these little things. That might be a bit tough. All right. Anyway, fun experiment. We're gonna shoot for the 50,000. I think that's doable. So, okay. So, you know, I gave you sort of a rant about the bigger market, rant about the junior market. I mean, you can see these things. Really, if you don't know that this is a hell of a good-looking chart, maybe you ought to join the site and just get up to school with what a good risk to take looks like versus a terrible risk. Long and short of it here, there's a lot of these names that are actually looking like, and I think I even put a tweet out to that effect. There was another one I think I was showing you earlier. Where I was kind of like, you know, we're almost at the point now with these names where as a professional risk taker, I would actually be remiss not to take the risk. So, yeah, that's what I said here. As a risk taker, it's hard for me to justify not taking this risk right here. I think I showed you guys this chart earlier. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but these numbers are ridiculous. That's like basically it's 10x just back to the 50% level. I mean, come on. You're telling me if I risk $1 and if the idea goes belly up, I lose the $1. Okay, well, I mean, shit happens. You buy a lottery ticket, right? What are the odds of that you winning on that lottery ticket? But you're going to lose the $1 if you lose. Or you go and buy one of these things with $1, and believe it or not, it's actually not unrealistic to think about getting $10 out of this thing. I mean, even if I'm right only like 1 in 10 times, I break even. If I'm right 2 in 10 times, 20% of the time, when I do this, I'm right. Hey, I just doubled my stake. And then, of course, if you're right like 50% of the time, you make more money than you know what to do with. Okay, so let's pop on over to the corn and the big boys. Now, you know, I think I've told you guys here through Twitter and stuff, I'm not overly excited about the corn right here. I do have some puts on the books just to cover our asses. You know, ironically enough, our crypto portfolio, after selling off all the shit up top in 2017 and just leaving it alone, not doing anything with the rest of it, it's sitting at about like 50 grand right now, which I found amusing. Remember, we started that portfolio with $500, and we took out about $150,000 in cash, right? So, and we still have the other 50 grand in cryptos just sitting there. Anyway, looking at the corn itself, you know, if anything, I think a lot of people are missing this sort of weekly picture. And you can see when price fractals, either 3 bars topping out or 3 bars bottoming out. You can see actually really good ones in here. really good 3-bar fractal fail there. And also, too, notice going from hunky-dory, feeling pretty good, to, oh my God, what the fuck? That was 1, 2, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, boom! End of the world. So can corrections happen pretty quickly? You better believe it. Look at this one. 1, 2, 3, bang! We're already basically trading at the bottom end of the range. 1, 2, 3. So this can happen like here, inside bar. 1, 2, 3, bang! Down we go. And this one, look at this one. Bang, bang, bang. Down we go. So these sell-offs can happen extremely fast. And it's weird. You go through these long sort of distribution periods where people just sort of get comfortable with, okay, yeah, Bitcoin's worth 10 G's, whatever, right? And everybody just sort of gets comfortable with that thinking. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bang, 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 down we go, right? Everybody freaks out. So as you can see, and it was interesting because we could have 3-bar fractaled here, boom, 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 but you notice, nope, never did fail. And we started working our way higher, made another new high, and then boom, 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 3-bar fractal, boom, fail, confirmed. And now you could even argue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-bar fractal, boom, confirmed fail. So there's a pretty damn thick top in this market now. Sucks. I mean, I would love to just sit here and say, hey, you know, it's going to go straight up. We're all going to make money. Easy peasy. But I just don't see that. What really worries me here now is you sort of have a choice now. Do you want the good correction, or do you want the, oh my God, fucking world's gonna fall apart correction? So I would actually prefer the good correction, which will just take us down to 7,100. And really, ideally, we'd love to see this make a nice wide head and shoulders. We turn somewhere around this sort of 6,000-7,000 area against these lows. Mr. Gann is happy. And we set the base for a beautiful inverted head and shoulders launch higher here. That's the good scenario. The bad scenario. Oh boy, I really hope this doesn't happen. The bad scenario, and I mean, you can just measure this. Go boobity-boo. Boobity-boo, right? You can just eyeball this, boobity-boo, and then boobity-boo. Since we lost that low, that means boobity-boo. As long as this high is the high, boobity-boo. If they really want to rip Bitcoin's butthole out here, in my opinion, this is the window. It's opening now for the market, which kind of sucks. You know, I mean, for the past 4 or 5 weeks, I've been kind of like just, nah, there's nothing to do. Nah, you know, these lows are probably going to absorb selling, which they did. But we're just slowly eroding away here. And I just say, you know, I've said this a few times over the past few weeks that the market keeps doing more technical damage to this very violent up. Don't get me wrong, very, very violent up. There's a lot of bullish enthusiasm, bullish momentum, bullish volume. And literally over the past 10 weeks, that's basically petered itself out, which is very dangerous. This thing has got to do a lot of cleanup, and we got to see some buyers really come in here in earnest to actually clean this up. This looks extremely dangerous. So we can go look at the real-time chart here now on the corn. Where are we? Over here. Nope, wrong one. That chart that I had just up there is this one. Actually, I think it is. No, actually, I think it's... Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So here's that weekly chart that I just showed you. The daily chart, you know, we had, you know, these bow tie kind of trend lines, all that supporting the market. We lose it and then rally back up. Okay, then we lost again. right? Maybe we're going to hold this trend line. You can see we lost it. We rallied back up. Okay, we're cool. We're cool. Then we lost it. Then yesterday was really interesting. Counter trend rally sort of just jumped out of nowhere at about 11, 12 o'clock yesterday morning. And then that was it. Once that rally was done, then we just started melting back down here again. I tell you this is not a good sign, right? And then if we start getting actual market structure, if we lose these lows, that's going to be structure below this trend line. Where the hell's the next uptrend line? Well, oh boy. I mean, there is nothing. This is just an imaginary fib that I've thrown on the chart a while ago. There's nothing down here, right? All of these trend lines, everything's been broken. So this is what worries me here. This is ironically enough, the only thing that's holding this market up right now is a downtrend line. Well, that's not good. So I could see the market bump against this line like it did here and hold in, but we're running out of stuff to hold the damn market up here. And I got to tell you, man, this thing looks like it's just peering over the cliff. So, if you are a bull and you're running the Bitcoin story and you want this bull to get going, for God's sakes, get this goddamn market back above, what's that high there? 9,300 even. You got to get this. Whoever's running Bitcoin story, if you're a bull, you got to get this son of a bitch back above here. That looks very, very precarious, especially heading into a new week. Oh, yeah. I've already told you about what I think about the stock market. And in a weird sort of way, I actually think that crypto is a leading indicator here. So very, very dangerous level we're in right now. Now, if we go down to like a lower time frame, you can kind of see that bottom trying to develop here. Don't really like having these conversations with you guys on YouTube about this, but you can see we're below value. So we had a dip into a reload zone, candle bodies for trade location, and a dip below value. You can see there just wasn't, and usually like first thing on a Sunday morning, there isn't going to be that massive volume. But, if we have, like, let's say, later on this afternoon, all the Asian markets start opening up and the futures markets start opening up. And I don't know, how's this COVID thing going? Is it getting worse or is it getting better? Anybody seen in the situation in the States? Are they feeling better or are the numbers still ramping up? That's not good. And then to add insult to injury, and our resident astral expert, we're not allowed to call him Crispy anymore, I guess. We have to call him Landon. He's very, very serious now. He's got a very serious title, Landon. I'm just playing with you, Landon. I think he's in here. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. Oh, there he is. He's saying that Mars now is starting to come into the equation, and I think Mars hits like a perfect square in like November or something like that, or October. So I don't know whether you guys heard, but the United States of America has decided it's going to drive a couple of its biggest aircraft carriers into the South China Sea, just as the Chinese announced that they are going to be conducting military exercises in the South China Sea. Oh, wonderful. I mean, this is a potion for disaster. So anyway, do you really want to take a lot of risk heading into that? Oh, yeah, and then, of course, I mean, what a perfect unicorn event. Somebody's downvoted me. Who downvoted me? What did I say that could have possibly generated a downvote over there on YouTube? So baffling. Anyway, yeah. So we got Mars coming into the picture, which is supposed to be the god of war and all that kind of fun stuff. And it would be I don't know whether you guys remember, Bill Clinton pulled one of these back in the former Yugoslavia. He was in hot water locally, politically. And all of a sudden, he decided to launch a ballistic missile airstrike and bombing campaign against Serbia or something like that. Way back when, and everybody in Washington was like, what a coincidence. You were in political hot water and you needed to have the conversation change, so this is what you're going to do. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously, none of us should get into the business of predicting the future or why people do what they do. But I could definitely see that the situation with in the South China Sea could get extremely hot here very quickly. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I suppose that's one reason why gold perked up so nicely recently. Anyway, so for those lower time frame players, I could respect somebody coming in and saying, hey, there's a W there. It's working. Market went up probably a little too far too fast. All the market did was just come back down and check the W. And now I have a reload zone within a reload zone, and it's below value. I mean, believe it or not, I could totally respect a professional, and if you're going to approach this from this, you have to be. You have no choice. But I could totally respect a trader saying, you know what, that's a trade I got to take. Just simply coming in and buying against the bottom end of the range, looking for nothing more than just a tag of reload zones to the upside, horizontal support and resistance, the top of value. I could see that happen. That's not outlandish. Having said that, this is definitely a very advanced trade in the face of very, very heavy looking higher time frame markets. You got to have balls of steel to come in here and take this long. But, believe it or not, I could respect a guy who said, look, I'm just going to take a shot against these lows. We're coming into levels. And if these levels are lost, I'm out of there. I could respect that. I doubt, to be perfectly honest with you, many of you on YouTube watching this have the professional acumen to take that trade very comfortably. I could be mistaken. I don't think so. This is balls of steel kind of trading. Yeah, I mean, it's there. And like I said, if I was like going to toss a coin, especially with the way that weekly chart looks like, if I was going to toss a coin, I'd say, probably got maybe like a 50% chance of that trade working. Probably going to see some FUs against these lows heading into the opening, the Asian session candle body lows. You've heard me talk about that kind of stuff before. I could see some fuck yous against these lows from today, and I guess that's like 2 days ago. But at the same time too, like I said, I could easily and I would respect a trader who said, you know what, that's a trade I got to take because I'm a range trader and we're at the bottom of the range and I'm just looking for this thing to do what markets do. I'd just be curious, how often do you guys, does anybody know, how often do we markets range versus trend? Rob's like, it's trade I got to take. So there you go. So, and that's the interesting thing about trading, right? Is that I've tried to tell you people on YouTube to do this, but I don't know whether anybody listens to me. Your opinion, my opinion, it's completely meaningless. Completely meaningless. The only thing that matters is you got to take a fucking trade, right? And whatever system you use, and should be at least a good 60-70% accurate. And you just got to step in there and you got to take the trade. Not 90%, Roman. I mean, that's good. But usually markets range about 70 to 80% of the time, and then they trend about 20 to 30% of the time. So, ironically enough, if you were just going to like roll the dice and say, well, that's the bottom end of the range, that's the top end of the range, what's the statistical odds that if we come down into here, we hold these lows and we turn back up? And it's about 70 to 80% of the time. And, same sort of thing here. Somebody's like, oh, this is a bear, this is a bear, this is a bear. Nope, fuck you. Back up we go. Oh, this is a bull, this is a bull. Nope, fuck you. Back down we go. Back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and Landon's here saying, well, based on the astrological and blah, 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 I don't see it happening. Again, Landon, that's your opinion. You never know what the fuck's going to happen in this world. And if your trading plan says that I test the bottom end of range, and I've got bullish divs, and I got W's, or I got inside bars, or I got empires, or whatever, and if the trade setup comes in, I got to take the damn trade, then I would actually be very upset with you if you didn't take the trade. So, that's a trader's life. Talking about where the market's going to go, that's kind of... I remember sitting in a manager's office years ago trying to land a job at a brokerage house, and I'm all like, yeah, well, I'm a growth investor, and I like, stocks. And he's like, well, that's market talk. I don't give a shit about that. He's like, how are you going to make me money? And usually that's, well, I'm going to shill the stock that I think is undervalued to the public. Of course, you're the principal, so I'm literally giving you business. And then when the market does appreciate above what we perceive as fair value, we'll be selling our positions and taking profits, earning more money for you in the form of commissions. That's what they want to hear, right? Capitalism 101. Well, I got a bling on that one. Somebody didn't like that. So, there's your market state. If you're a trader, I can understand you coming in, taking shots against the low end of the range. If you're an investor, oh boy, this is, for starters, I really don't like thinking about value on Bitcoin at $9,000. That seems a bit rich. And if I do get this dumped down into 3,000-4,000, I actually consider that an absolute gift. And ironically enough, when I posted, oh boy, it looks like we're heading down here, everybody on the site's like, woohoo, cheap Bitcoin, right on. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, crap. That means it probably isn't going to happen. Because, our community's like everybody else. Probably there's a lot of people in social media and stuff that are like, yes, please dump, please dump. I need to get in down below. What I would have preferred to hear is, oh, no, I'm long Bitcoin. No, don't dump, right? That would have been perfect. Sorry, site people as guinea pigs. That didn't quite work out. It's not malicious. I'm just, just telling you, sentiment-wise, what I took from their response. So. If we look at the big three, I think it's generally the same message. I like the individual stories, and if you have an individual story that can drive fundamentals, awesome. But the big three, I don't really hear any new fundamental drivers for like, why is Bitcoin undervalued? What's going to happen? I hear everybody talking about grayscales buying, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it was interesting. I listened to an interesting pod. I don't even know what the hell these damn things are called. Podcast? Interview? I don't know. This right here. And I would suggest everybody watch it. It was a really, really good interview. This gentleman seems very, very intelligent. And he was interviewing this guy who's like a total baller in the crypto space. And he was saying, don't buy too much into that grayscales, loading up. They bought more Bitcoins. Because he was saying, and this is the same sentiment I have. There's a lot of people that would like to participate in crypto that are in things like 401k, Roth IRAs, in Canada, RRSPs, all that kind of stuff. You can't buy Bitcoins through those. So how are you going to do it? Well, the only way right now you can do it is through these exchange-listed ETFs. And the problem with the grayscale stuff is it's OTC. It's not even big board listed, so you can't really trust exactly what the company is saying. For whatever it's worth, anybody who thinks about investing in OTC stock, right on the goddamn OTC website, it says directors have no legal obligation to tell you the truth. So just be forewarned if you ever do decide to go down that road. And I didn't really want to get into that GBTC kind of stuff because of the OTC nature. So I waited for the Canadian stock market to list a Canadian senior listed Bitcoin fund. So my registered accounts and all that kind of stuff, I'm buying it through the Canadian listed ETF, which for your guys. Actually, I like to follow all of them on my little matrix here. So that's this screen right here. So here is the GBTC and the GBTC Premium, and here is that Canadian ETF. It just started out. Now, I mean, you tell me, what letters of the alphabet does that look like? Don't see too many W's. I see lots of M's. So I'm not, this sort of reiterates the kind of idea that, maybe price is a bit heavy here. But the reason why I wanted to mention this in this interview was that he actually explained what's going on with the grayscale buying more bitcoins than is mined and all that kind of stuff, in that people are exchanging for the Bitcoin ETF actual bitcoins and exchanging in kind. So other than that, and then of course there was the DeFi sort of jazz recently. That really caught a lot of attention in the market. But what I kind of noticed about that DeFi, like I've been watching this comp, right? This is probably a good proxy for the DeFi. If this thing's rip-roaring bull, then my hunch is, the story is going on, but that's not a bullish chart. And if anything, it kind of worries me because, when we see these ICOs, what usually happens with these things? Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Rob says, geez, I've seen this before. When these damn ICO things, they come out. And, we did this once with one of the TRIOGers who's very popular in the space. I think his name's Da Vinci. And he had his name Grin. And it looked exactly the same way out of the gate. And it's kind of like, okay, well, is this thing bottomed? Is it ready to go? I don't even know where to look at this thing. It was a few years ago, wasn't it? Wasn't it on Binance? I thought I remember it was on Binance. Anyway. And, this is what I'm worried about for that comp. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. But doesn't it kind of look the same sort of thing? Big dump and then sort of a consolidation. And when you're sitting here, you're like, okay, well, that's bottom. It looks okay. But what you don't realize is, holy Jesus Christ, this thing can just keep going and going. And where the hell's the goddamn bottom? So that's what I'm kind of worried about for these, like this comp thing. Because I don't even really understand what the actual value of one of these things is. And like I said, people were gaming the shit out of this platform, which is not a good sign. I mean, that Grin, the chart doesn't look exactly the same. The volume patterns are slightly different. But what I'm just going to simply say is the fact that we broke these lows here, obviously the demand for this thing is questionable. And that to me looks like a big AB equals CD painting somewhere down in here. Now, I'm sure there's probably other exchanges you can look at this thing. And really, I'm not here to tout comp. I couldn't give a flying fuck about this. But what I will say is that this had a lot of the market inertia of late. I wouldn't mind finding a chart that actually has some half-decent data. Or does any of these things have any kind of data, or is it all just brand new for this shit? Excuse my French. Swearing like a sailor here. Which one's the best to use? There's Binance. Binance should be big. Oh, versus BNB? Anyone? I don't know. Which one should I be looking at here? How about Walt Disney Company? No, that's not it. Anyone? Can anybody help me here? Oh, Adam, is that another one? Trex? Yes, Disney is good soon too. So, no. Anyway, so the point of the matter here, that looks a little bit tough. Adam, I have heard people talking about this. I know Colin, who's going to be on the call on Friday. He's been really interested in this. Yeah, this is a funny one here, I don't really like the look of this bottom, but if I was going to play this, I would be sort of going there to there. I think I did up a chart on this earlier for the site. And I go there to there. So it did 33, has not gone beyond 66. So we might have something to work with. This is one low. So, okay, great. We got one low to work with. Is one low a W? And unfortunately, it's not. And I did find it interesting that if we went like that and we go like that, you can see that the bot level here is trying to set up off of this. This is clearly an important level for this thing. So I could still follow along. This is just me, right? Ideally, of course, I'd love to see something like that. That's the way I like to trade. If we run up to this 337 area first, then I can't participate because it might just actually go something like that. So for the time being, it's a nice rally off the lows. That's about as far as I could take it right now. And I don't really like these V bottoms. You know, it's nice to see we've got some good volume coming in here, so that's encouraging. I'd like to see this structurally build out a little bit more to give me a bit more confidence in the setup. So just an FYI there. Doesn't look like those other ones, right? Maybe versus Bitcoin it looks a little better. Let's see. Adam. A Bitcoin. Well, there's versus XBT. Let's see what you got there. That's a little better. So if we see this up versus BTC and the USD is up, guess what that's sort of saying to me is I could see actually that would make sense to see BTC sort of bottom here a little bit. Maybe this thing calms down a little bit. I don't know, it's tough to say. Anyway, versus Bitcoin, and is this a function that this thing's going up? Or is it a function that Bitcoin's going down and this thing's staying stable? I don't know. That's up to you. I wouldn't mind hunting with a bowl and spoon. Boom. Right down in that area. So, whoops, that's not what I wanted. You know, I mean, if I was a buyer. Kevin, did we have any questions from the students today? I think Kevin's still here. Didn't really hear anything, eh? Yeah, a couple. Okay, so we'll finish with this. So it's in reload zones. I mean, this wide W is coming in. I'm the type of guy I'd probably want to work gaps. So I'd let this rally. Looks like they took it to new lows here, though, recently. Eh? Yeah, typical crypto fuck you right there. So, my hunch is probably, and you know, if I wanted to play this, that doesn't mean you know, do with your own money what you will. I would prefer to see some nice consolidation and give me, you know, some structure, higher lows to work with, a trend, that kind of stuff. I think you can make the argument there was a cute little double bottom right there, right, which produced that rally. Did you get a double off? 27, 26, 32. Nope. So, trader's got a trade kind of thing. M comes in here. Maybe you're like, well, I like the W, but I don't want to take a risk losing money, so maybe hop off there. I don't know. It's up to you. Nanny Nibbles. You know, I wouldn't have a problem. You know, we're at or below reload zones. We're getting a little bit expensive right now. I don't know whether I would chase this up here. But working stink bids down in this area, it's not a bad idea. This is relative to Bitcoin, though. So like we said on that relative to US dollar chart, I'd like to see a little bit more structure come in here. So there you go. So you asked me to look at Atom. There's your Atom. All right, so one of the things I'm supposed to do here is answer any follow-up questions that the level ones might have. So I think we'll probably stop with the broader talk now and just pop in here and see if we can answer some questions. 7.5. All right, that sounds like it here. So expound on volume color based on previous close and how it affects volume impetus study. Well, just simply put, let me do this, Adam. It's fine. What we really want to just ask is, you know, like let's say this bar right here. So we close this bar here with kind of a shooting star doji. So the next bar, I mean, we opened up and we closed down. We went all the way down here. So the sellers must be dominating. So we look down, we see it's a red bar there. Sellers are dominating. In fact, this bull run here, really good example. So we say volume impetus. Ideally on the green bars, we want to see a W. So can you see how it went down, then up, then down, did not make a new low, then went up. So you can see the W in the green bars. Then on the next low of the greens, notice down, did not make a lower low. So do we do more than that bar there? We went up and hello, more there. That's an up bar. The bull still looks like he's rocking and rolling. Pulled back a little bit on this one. Then the next bull bar, hey, another new high. Bull's still happy. So now we're all the way up here. Then notice, once we get up in here, where do the buyers go? And then all of a sudden notice, hey, the bears are ramping up, right? So we can now do one on the bear study, right? So you can go, bears are really quiet, but here, let's go here. Then here, then this low is higher than that low. So do the bears break out through that high? They sure do. Where the hell did the bulls go? Well, we want to see a green bar higher than here to say that the bulls are still in control. Where the hell are the bulls? They're nowhere to be seen. The bull had the potential to step up here, and they just never showed up. And what's worse is this high here and that high there. This low here is lower than that. That actually makes an M. Uh-oh. Don't like that at all. So in the face of that M, buyers just never showed up here. The bears, here we are, we're more bears, and down goes price. So what do you think, guys? Is that a pretty good example of volume impetus? It's actually, I just pulled that right out of my butt. You can literally see the bulls coming alive, higher highs, bull market. All of a sudden, the bulls disappear. The bears come alive. A bear market. And then notice, look at the bears. They just disappeared here. And the bull's like, hey, I'm still here. Look at me. And then we're going to fight. Who's still awake? Who's asleep? Notice the bears. They tried to step up here, but they just did not show up. And the fact that this red bar is lower than this one and lower than this one, and the bulls are like, okay, well, fuck you. Here we go. Let's party. Where are the bears? They're nowhere around here. And up goes price. If we actually, in this, right, you can see if we actually hold these lows, because they're higher than all of these lows, and this volume ramps up through here, this thing's going to take off like a rocket. And where are the bears? I don't see the bears around at all. Well, what do you think? Who asked that question? Is this something level owners should be concerned with, or should they focus on the stock out of the box volume indicator? Probably important to get the volume colors correctly, because it's important, and really all you got to do is you just got to go, I think you just click on the volume bar, and I think it's under input. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Previous close. Hey, even better. All right, so that way, like this one here, that's a down bar. Good. This one here, that's technically up, I guess. Let's say close. 28.89, 28.90. Right, so that's an up bar. So that's there. Now, some I would prefer that you use the out of the box OBV. There are some people that would prefer to use things like accumulation distribution, because like a candle like this, yes, OBV is just going to count that as positive volume. But accumulation distribution asks, where does the candle finish relative to its entire range? So something like an accumulation distribution study, it's going to give you different data. It's actually going to interpret this as distribution. even though the OBV will actually count it as accumulation. That's subtleties. Really, I mean, geez, look at this thing go here. I would prefer for the level 1 that you primarily just concentrate on the message of OBV, in that what we really want to do is we just want to find M's and W's. You know, as you're working away and as you're studying, you're going to, you have been sort of lectured as to how to use volume impetus to validate what you're actually seeing out of your OBV study. So that's really what I want you to do. Is ideally, of course, we have sort of confluence of information. So here, for example, you can see there's an M coming in on the OBV. And then we went through that volume impetus study. What's going on here? Well, the bulls were wide awake. OBV's moving up. The bulls disappeared. OBV kind of emming out. And then the bears woke up. And as a result, OBV heading down. So what I want you to do is be able to see the M in price. That's a sell signal there. I want you to be able to see the M in OBV. And I want you to be able to look at volume impetus with the bars colored appropriately and see if you can see what's going on in the impetus to give you a change in the OBV. Remember, we walked you through this. What does the bull breakout look like? Well, we look at the OBV indicator, and you can see all through here. This is a question of, are the bears still in control, ramping up bear volume bars? Yes, they are. We come down, the bears fall asleep, the bulls start to wake up, and you can see that battle. You can see on this bar right here and this bar right here, the bears are like, hey, we're still around, right? And that's what this is. Then you notice this beautiful double bottom right here, and we look at the volume bar, and there is that volume impetus breakout with the bears falling asleep. You look down at your indicator and you go, well, I think W's are bullish, so I think volume here is saying we're heading higher. And then, of course, like I said, once we get up here, then you look at your impetus, see the bulls falling asleep, see the bears waking up, look at your indicators, see M's, and go, whoop, looks like volume is heading back down. Pretty straightforward. And actually, this is even better. What do we call a situation where your indicator is making higher lows and higher highs, but price itself is making lower lows and lower highs? Anyone? How about you people over on YouTube? You should lower the time frame on comp. Because when you lower the time frame, that's where you find investable ideas. Oh, God. Anyway, don't mean to be rude there, Camille B. But yeah, if you lower your time frame, then you're talking a little bit more about trade ideas. Well, half of my job here, Josh, is just simply make you laugh. So if I did that, then fucking A, man. I'm killing it. So what do you think? Let's see. Did anybody? Hey, there you go. Excellent. So you guys are getting it on YouTube. And I'll tell you, one thing that you can pretty much take to the bank is when you get OBV divergences, oh, Nelly. They are powerful signals. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. Look at what the fucking thing's doing. Isn't that funny? You're seeing the divergence play itself out. So anyway, I sure hope that helps with this question. And if not, just bug me again. We can keep doing it over and over and over. The understanding volume and volume flow, very, very important. So take your time. Just stick around the site, keep picking me, And I'll be more than happy to just keep talking until you get it. Okay, next one here. Can you explain the concept of W in W, or how you trade this market structure when you have a long, long, long horizontal range with, from time to time, a spike up, kind of EXP BTC? I want to enter in Brian's head. Oh, well, you don't want to be in there. It's kind of boring. A lot of echoes. Hello, hello, hello. Actually, you know what? I got to pee, so I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'd play music, but YouTube gets into trouble. So everybody just, what song should you hum in your head? How about I'm a Barbie Girl? If everybody can sing I'm a Barbie Girl once from start to finish, I'll be right back. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair. Through the song yet? Guess I better put my pants back on, eh? How's that for a crazy YouTuber, eh? I just literally stand up and just walk away. Hey, in a bar. There you go, Anthony. You know the words. Right on. Can you guys believe that Brian has never ordered from Amazon? Julian's ordered lots, but no, you're not going to break my Amazon cherry. Sorry. I'll tell you what. If you can order me singing lessons, I'll buy. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, so EXP. Well, if I was going to trade this thing, let's see, where's the best place to show you this? I think it was. Was it Bitcoin? Yeah, there we go. So there's a number of different ways to skin this cat. I mean, first and foremost, little old lady, don't raise more than 5% of your portfolio on any one idea. This is the kind of name where you could have spent the past year or two just nibbling away, 0.5% kind of idea, just nom 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 nom. And kind of like what I told you with Joshua, it's Josh and our Tesla plan, right? Those kind of people, they're just sitting there. They're going to work their orders here, and really they're going to go just live their own lives, right? And they just have their open order working just in case all hell breaks loose, and just you're going to have to renew the order on a relatively consistent basis. You know, because I think they expire every 30 days or something like that. For the more aggressive participant, I really like this kind of image because it's sort of everything about venture capital and everything that you actually should expect. So, you know, this is a great run where basically nobody was interested. You can see it sat there for a few days, did nothing. Nice little initial pop, which probably caught some attention. And then all hell broke loose. Bang, 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 bang. Of course, the public's all coming up top here and buying, right? And so they're dying 1,000 deaths. Oh my God, it's horrible. You know, even looking at this image, I wouldn't have a problem if somebody just is nanny nibbling their way along here. And what usually I have found ends up happening is if this bottom is for real, and you see this all the time on Bitcoin, then the market will hold these lows. It will come down. It will actually bottom right off that damn 78.6. Happens all the time. And I get the impression that's exactly what this was. So I think that they tried to turn the market here. And in essence, this M right here, they just ran into a brick wall of selling through here. No doubt. So if that's the case, then, for those people that did take, there's just the cutest little W right down in there. If you took that, you were trading that, then I would expect you to take some profits on this little move up here. Even just move your stop to scratch, so that way you don't have a winning trade turn into a losing trade. Totally fine. Somebody would said, okay, well, Brian, I'm going to take this big W, but I'm shooting for way up here. Well, your idea failed, and you should have been stopped out, and you're just sitting back on the sidelines with a relatively minor loss. And you're just waiting for the next opportunity, and lo and behold, look what's happening here. With regard to the W within a W kind of idea, actually the absolute best thing to do, I think, in these kind of, and really all of these situations, is just, it's interesting how this one did pop up through the top here, because actually that's a pretty bullish sign. But what I would actually do is just simply reload zone this. And then reload zone this. So now you've got some zones. The first zone, and this is really talking more to the trader. Your first zone, you want to concentrate. Keep in mind, this is a daily chart. So your first zone is going to be in here. And really what you're asking is, do they pull this market down against this red candle? And whoever said, nope, stop going down, you go up, they defend their position right against there. My hunch is with all of these lows here, I would reckon that this is not going to hold and that they will dump it into these levels. And then, and this is the one thing I don't like about this. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. My hunch is probably going to have to play down in here somewhere down the road. Now, the problem with that, of course, is you're going to have to adjust. If they just keep cranking this thing higher, you're just going to have to keep pulling your reload zones higher. And you might find that if this bull gets going strong enough, that this ultimate reload zone is nothing more than them just dipping it against these tails. Totally doable. But as it stands right now, if I was looking at this and I wanted to try and get in, and FYI I am, I've got my bids all sort of sprinkled down in here. This is more little old lady. I'm working bids. If I was trading this, quote unquote, then I would have alerts set at those levels. I'd probably be drilling in on a lower time frame chart. I don't know. Whoops. Oh, darn. This looks like an awfully suspicious candle all in here. So, I might be watching, again, sort of in that reload zone. I'd want to watch how she acts coming down into here. And, if you're pulling up the Trex platform and you're just sort of trading off of it and you're trading this stuff, then it's probably something along the lines of like to see divergence develop as we're coming down into here. Give me a nice W and I can go in and sneak in off the lower time frames. So that's probably the way that I would be looking at that. This would be like the trade. You'd want the divergence, you'd want the W, and then, okay, I'm ready to go. And actually, Ubik just did that. Pretty good example. So, big pop, right? Don't chase. Work your reload zone bids, and just be patient. Actually, this one surprised me. Yeah, it looks like that's the bottom. So you can see this one here, and I even put a tweet out. This is like our bread and butter at TRI. And actually, you want to be really cheeky. Look at that cute little gap that was there. You could have just worked your bid right at that, and look at that insane fill you would have gotten. Doink, and then right back up. So, that other one, that EXP, exact same logic. So try not to chase. You want to get in on confirmed W's. Okay. Then start working your reload zone bids against key support. Just be patient. Who's really good at TRI at doing this is Kvarkinator. He is so good at this. He's so good at identifying divergences, just being patient, and then just working his bids. He's just a ninja at this on his warrants. And really, if I was thinking about this thing, I would be concentrating down here. So hopefully that helps. All right. Well, whoever you asked, hopefully that helps you out. Let me know if it did or if it didn't. I noticed that on some banging out doubles, you only use market structure and price with those W's and W's. Is it because LOL is only about W's and price, or because you did the price momentum volume study before and you don't show it in your TB? Thank you, Brian. I really love your LOL strategy with some planting flowers from Grim. Many thanks. Many, but with an asterisk. I guess the issue here is that I've been playing this game so long that when I just see markets dip down against lows and I like the name, I'll just go and throw a bid in. And if it's just nanny nibble kind of size, I don't even really think too much about the trade, to be honest with you. That altcoin crypto portfolio, I generated a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and I've just been using that as my sort of purchasing power. And anytime I see an altcoin, and I have a pretty big list of them over here. Anytime I see one of these names dip down into levels, I just go and pick up a little bit more. And actually, I think you can see on almost every single one of these, I actually have where my double level is. And you can see like this one here, this VTC, you can still, I'm a long way away from doing any selling. So a lot of this, like little old lady nanny nibbles, is really just all I want to do is I see an asset that's trading at just a fraction of its highs, and I just want to go and pick up a little bit of it. Could I be a little bit more crisp in my El Tangonator setups, which I personally really love the El Tangonator. It's a perfectly simple setup that, all you level oneers, I want you to leave the site. And if you made it religion that every single one of your nanny nibbles has to be a valid El Tangonator setup, I can guarantee you're going to make a hell of a lot more money a lot faster than I will with this kind of approach. This is just idiot. Hey, it's at the bottom of the range. Go pick some up. And again, tooting his horn again, someone who's really good at being religious of waiting for the MACD divs and then the W's coming in is Kavarkinator. So, and he's in your level 1. He's your TA. So, the great part about it, and I often say this, I know it's hilarious. I have full expectation that a lot of you are actually going to become far better traders than I ever will be. I could even just a dream of it down the road. So, this is like my parents, my mom sitting there smoking, right? 3 packs a day and going, don't smoke, it's bad for you. It's like, what a hypocrite. But I'll tell you, we have enough people at the TRI site that do this correctly and do it religiously and follow the setups religiously that I know for certain, of course, that this shit works, and sometimes I'm just lazy. We have enough role models on the site that you should be able to see that if you're patient and you're disciplined and you only take valid, vetted setups, that the odds work pretty good. And when I'm trading options, that kind of stuff, I don't really fuck around with the setups. And if I'm buying stock and stuff like that, I don't really fuck around with them. With cryptocurrency, I actually consider this space fun. I don't even really look at this stuff as money. It's a video game for me. So, and I don't use it for my income, and I just want to accumulate. And I'm not really in any big hurry. I hope that helps answer the question. To be perfectly blunt, you want higher, faster returns that are more, crisp. My suggestion is, you can apply the little old lady principle, but inject setups only. And really, honestly, if the setup fails, just walk away from the trade. But remember, when I do these little old lady purchases, I don't have any intention of getting stopped out. I couldn't care, right? I'm just acquiring. So remember, she can risk to zero, right? That's the whole point of little old lady. So, okay, I hope that helps. What I would strongly suggest you do, and Grimm's such a fantastic resource for you level oneers, is again, I think a lot of these traders have actually turned into better traders than I am. But Grimm has a very methodical, very algorithmic approach to implementing the little old lady risk management strategy within the altcoin space. He calls it his planting flowers. Excellent model. Really, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have you leave the level 1 course. All of you guys out there in the garden planting flowers. It's just absolutely top-notch stuff. I find it amusing. To a certain degree, I'm a bit lazy. To a high degree, I'm a bit lazy. And I've actually found that it's actually fairly easy to beat like indexes and that kind of stuff on an annual basis. But I do see that there is a growing demand within the site for a little bit higher octane, higher leverage, or not higher leverage, but higher return kind of trading. So that's kind of why I want to do this fun project with Josh, just to show you. Little old ladies here, they can make a hell of a lot of money. And then if you can actually recycle your profits and do second cars, third cars, fourth cars, just keep recycling your profits into the name. When they go, oh my goodness, the profits can be absolutely insane. So don't discount little old lady. Just the key here is that there's no time horizon on little old lady. She's just there. She's just acquiring. And if it takes a couple years, the Wall Street sort of rule of thumb, if you ever make an investment recommendation, every single recommendation you must have a 3 to 5 year time horizon. I would actually make the argument that if you bought Bitcoin at $17,000, $18,000, $19,000 and you held on to it for 5 years, the price is probably going to be higher. Famously, Goldman Sachs actually came out and recommended buying Bitcoin at $1,100 into the peak of 2013, which I laughed at. It was just so funny. And yet, because the fine print at the bottom of their recommendation said 3 to 5 year time horizon, at the end of that 3 to 5 year time horizon, it turns out they were right. Well, I would say the same thing with all these altcoins. And it's actually interesting. Like I had made reference earlier to this video, Twitter video that I watched. And, the irony of all of this is actually there was, a lot of people that are watching crypto right now, they look at Bitcoin $20,000 and they think that was the big bull run. Actually, it wasn't. That was actually a much smaller run than the first bull run. And this video here, this gentleman talks about it. And what's interesting is I actually own some of the coins through that first bull run. That was anybody, let's see, is anybody on YouTube page? Do any of you, have you ever... how do I ask this question in a trivia question? I don't know. Any of you on YouTube, do any of you have an account at Mt. Gox? I'd be curious to see whether any of you are in this space that long ago. How about MintPal? How about Crapsy? Does anybody remember Crapsy? So that was the first big bull market. And what I found really interesting was the shitcoins that I bought in that first bull market. I remember there was one in particular, it was UTC or something like that. And for some reason I held on to it. It was like the only one that I held on from that first bull run. But its price actually got back to the purchase price that I paid back in 2012 through that 2017, 2018 bull market. So it just goes to show, if you hold on to these silly things I guess about every 4 or 5 years, they all perk up and jump up to their old highs of their ranges. And like I said, 3 to 5 years, ironically enough, if your coins survive that purge, my hunch is probably 2022, 2023 kind of idea. We're right back up at the top again. So anyway. Okay, so I answered the questions there. A bit of a tough time in society right now. Go slowly, everybody. Now's not really the time to bet the farm on anything, in my opinion. Love the idea of nice big dumps here on Bitcoin to give us some free, cheap, well, not free, but cheap Bitcoins. But at the same time, too, I mean, it's the whole damn stock market, everything. It's not really just crypto, and I, in a weird sort of way, I get the impression that it's probably a good thing, right? That it's not like crypto is a bear. I might make the argument that actually crypto is not a bear. It's if you look at Bitcoin, it's a sideways. I mean, how ironic, right? We started the run, we ran up to 20 G's, and here we are sitting basically 50% of the range. That to me sounds like the middle of the range. So I think it's more that we have to make this big, just like your girlfriend, right, Josh? We have to get through this transition window. We have to get the ex-girlfriend. I have a feeling we're going to go through this on numerous occasions. Anyway, we have to get through this transition. I would make the argument, if you are a millennial, if you can think 5-10 years down the road, take advantage of these humans panicking. When they panic, oh boy, the panic is palatable. And if you can buy Bitcoins at or below the cost of production, I would highly encourage you to do so. Okay, it's about 20 past the hour, so hopefully, did anybody get any value out of that? I don't know. Oh, look at that, I got another downvote. No, who's that? I mean, I don't know. This is really irresponsible of YouTube and this whole social media nonsense. I mean, how do you actually articulate that? I mean, I haven't blown smoke up your asses. Tried to be an incredibly polite person. Still relatively good jokes. I don't think I've been insulting to anyone. I mean, I don't understand how this social media crap works. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, Anthony, and thank you for the upvotes. It's just that, I sit here and I don't have to do any of this. So I wonder, what's the point? I mean, first off, if you're downvoting, why are you even here? It's not like you're paying a subscription or anything for this. So, I mean, I don't get it. Do people just not like me? Am I a dick? I'm trying not to be insulting. Well, I just don't get it, It baffles me. It really does. Anyway, guys, have yourself a great day. PMA for the win. Try to give you the straight goods here. Try not to blow smoke up your ass. Giving you a couple outside resources for you to add to your thinking here. Tried to answer some questions from students. Try to be a good person. Hell, I even gave you a nice screenshot man, any of those VCIM names, you just buy them. It's pretty much... Well, hey, you do with your own money. I'm not recommending anything to any of you on YouTube or in the public. If you would like to learn how to conduct yourself as a professional in the marketplace, I think we provide an excellent framework. We have actually a really big team now of people that are professionally trading real time with their hard-earned money. This isn't bullshit. So we're trying to make a positive difference in this world. Man, I've seen some really weird shit over the weekend that really makes me believe this is hell. We have to somehow try and earn our way out of here. Anyway, hopefully I'm making a positive difference in your guys' lives. Take it easy. And upvote, hit the like button, subscribe, tell your auntie about us. I don't know. Tell a friend. Have yourselves a great day. Wish me luck with Liam. Ironically enough. And here's the kick in the pants about trading. You guys think trading's difficult. Fuck, this is easy. You want a tough life? Go and try and be a full-time support person for a low-functioning person, low-functioning ASD in this fucking coronavirus world where he doesn't even know what the hell's going on. That's hard work. So everybody wish me luck. The market will do what the market does. It's just money. Try and tell all the people in your life that you love, that you do love them. Remind them. Because maybe, they might have forgotten. Try to be kind to yourself through this very difficult period. And, of course, from a trading perspective, try and remember what your number one job is. There's really no point in taking that long shot. Because 9 times out of 10, you're almost always proven wrong. So, PMA, everybody. All the best. Have yourselves a great rest of your weekend. And the only thing left for good old Brian to say at this point is a big hearty bye for now.